All right, guys. This episode, I've got a big update from the team at Profila. I have Sean and Luke joining me on this episode to go through what these guys have been up to. And, I always love this project because it gives the user, you guys out there, control of your data and your privacy. And this is something really good to keep an eye on. But, guys, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great to be here.
Now, it's been a little while since I've had a chat to you guys. And I think we need a little bit of a reminder about what you guys actually are up to and what this platform you guys are building are. So let's get that really quick spiel of what Profila is, and then we'll go into these updates and everything that you guys have been doing since our last chat.
Perfect. So if everyone remembers in the community, Profila is solving for privacy. We started 7 years ago as a research project with CERN in Geneva and their privacy department, the birthplace of the web. And from there, we did research with the likes of University of St. Gallen and University of Madrid and also University of Lucerne, all aiming to solve for privacy. And we all know that data is at the core of that. So what we've built now is a new data relationship platform where you as an individual are in control of your profiler. We've taken a different approach though, where it's centered around zero-party data. That's our obsession, is everything zero. Okay, so zero surveillance, zero-party data being the cleanest, most accurate profile of yourself, which then you can share with companies to get the best value out of them possible. So in terms that the industry might understand, it's like a mashup of Salesforce and Instagram, but with no bad data, no algorithms, and most importantly, no surveillance. And we're really trying to flip the narrative, of how do people value their data, but not sell it. Okay, and that's a key thing of where we're very different from anyone else, is we don't let you sell it on the platform. It's only ever leased for a duration and purpose. And that helps you comply with every regulation from a brand side on people on how they're trying to get to know you. And it also solves a lot of the risks, in the market around breaches and so on. But more important for you as the individual is once you understand the value of an updated data set, then the value comes from companies, because then they can target you precisely with exactly what you want and when you want it. And Luke's the master of design in the overall platform, so he'll talk a little bit more about some of these features. But the one I love the most, and I actually pitched it last night at the Cardano Summit event in Zug, is the metronome feature, which you've got a preference center that you control. So people's attention is so valuable. So how do you take full control of how much time you're going to spend with a brand in the future, not only in Profila, but across the web, is our vision and strategy. And we've taken massive steps forward in the platform. And I'll chat a little bit about that later, Peter, on some of the trials that we're doing with actual companies now and our readiness next year to go full steam to market.
It sounds really good. I'm pretty excited about the progress that you guys have made. And, there is so much of my own personal data floating around the internet, and it is so annoying, the amount of spam, not just the spam emails, but spam phone calls I get now as well. And I think there's also a lot of wasted marketing that I get too. So,
Yeah.
having this cleaned up and being able to control how much I engage with certain brands is going to be absolutely brilliant, because some brands bombard you every single day with email marketing. It's like, do I need this every single day, especially with this Christmas period coming up? It's insane.
I had the funnest moment last night, though, because I had a guy who actually sells one of the biggest CRM platforms in the world. I think we know who you're talking about, and somebody else who works for one of the biggest, tech providers. And they were both understanding and saying, at home, even on my Wi-Fi now, I surf something and my wife gets an ad. My wife surfs something and I get an ad related to what she searched. So the intrusiveness of surveillance has gone beyond ridiculous. And then I asked them the one question still, though, and Luke loves to say this, is did you see anything relevant or exciting? And 99% of the time it's not. And that's what's scary, is that so much of this budget is being wasted and just thrown in this spray and pray approach. And Luke always says, Luke, you can take over from here just on how dumb marketing is today. Luke.
Yeah, and I think it's a key point. Going back to what you said, Peter, a lot of your data is out there, but a lot of it's incomplete, unethically sourced, inaccurate. There's nothing we can do about that directly. There's no regulation that can do anything about that directly. Thesis is, what happens when you build a better data source than anything else out there on the web about you? Your real sentiment, your real preferences, what's in your head, what's in your heart. Well, that will help solve the problem, because brands, I don't really blame them, because these are the tools that they have. All they have are the algorithms. All they have is your email marketing or whatever. And the downside of it is, with digital distribution, the marginal cost of each additional email, newsletter, or ad is essentially zero. And they care about what they can measure, which is click rates and open rates, but they don't measure annoyance. Therefore, they have no feedback loop to do that. So they just do more and more and more, because it doesn't cost anything. So that laziness is in marketing. And you said, how bad the marketing spend is. That's the proposition. And we've seen things in the market over these last 7 years of organizations either saying corporations are evil, let's help you put a data source in your basement or something, or a SaaS to stalk people better. So kind of taking one side or the other. And we always said, well, we're in the relationship business. We want to cultivate good relationships, data relationships between individuals and brands, or any organization, and eventually any two entities that want to engage in that. And so that's just a different mindset. And we've done that with our feature set. It's got to be easy and fun and profitable for brands, but it's got to be a control center for individuals. And going back to what Sean said about Metronome, the basic idea is saying, well, Nike, you send me too much. I'm going to turn the volume down of Nike being able to communicate with me. And the platform enforces that. And they can also see when they're sending out a campaign, well, okay, I want to send this to 5,000 people, but only 4,000 are going to get it, because Nike has already sent too much to people. That's a good feedback loop for them as well. And these kind of weird or kind of new looks at how feedback will be given to brands. If I run a campaign as a brand and I can see that my entire community's metronome settings have been turned down, then I'm doing something wrong. I'm sending too much, or the content's not relevant. That's information brands simply do not have now. So by looking at the relationship as the center of this, and looking at what the value is for both brands and individuals, all these new things that don't exist now come up as, well, it should be like this. And yes, I like to say that we will look back at marketing and realize how stupid it is now. That it's basically stalking and spraying from the brand's perspective, where it's going to be smart matchmaking in the future. Here's my need. Here's who I am. I want 3 offers. Let me see those offers. And the 2 I don't choose will never know who I was. That's the kind of mentality we take into everything.
I kind of prefer the old traditional TV media marketing now. That was the true spray and pray, but it didn't track anything of my data or anything. That was the good old days, where I wasn't continuously spammed. I could still choose when I was spammed by turning on and off the television or whatever it was. But where are you guys? Excuse me. So where are you guys at now with the whole platform? I know you guys got some partnerships, you're doing trials. What does that part of the project look like at the moment?
Yeah. So I think the biggest evolution for us was getting brands to actually use it, to make sure that the core functionality from a Web 2 side, that served the business case, was implemented. And that, we're very glad to say, is done now. We've got 3 companies. One's a luxury automotive reseller in South Africa, selling cool red cars. And when we spoke to them, for example, they said, that's so cool, because normally I send out mail blasts to my top 400 people who want to buy cars for investment. But they always complain because, one gets it before the other, and they couldn't react, and they didn't get a chance to privately share their intent and data. And when we pitched that private, safe, single one-to-one relationship can exist on Profiler, because it's not social, it's not search, it's a private relationship. But you can send it to all 400 at the same time, and they all get the same opportunity. That was the breakthrough, to say, okay, this is like a much better relationship environment. And then just the fact that I've got their data, from high net worth individuals who don't normally want to share that, anywhere else, is, well, what color preferences, how much you're willing to spend and bid, was a game changer. And then the other 2 companies are very different. We've got a snowboarding and skateboarding company, and we've also got a DeFi company starting to work with us around how do you message to customers. And the biggest revelation over the years, and also in these trials, is that the process works for any company in any vertical. And last night too, at the Cardano Summit here in Zug, I spoke to a doctor and somebody in the medical industry for an hour around patient record management, and they've got exactly the same problem, which is you have to run everywhere, even as a doctor, to go and find a single view of a patient. It still doesn't exist. And we're hoping that this platform will be an introduction for any of those industries to be able to say, I've got Peter in the room, I've got Luke in the room, how do I get the data? And when I spoke to them, I said, well, just flip it around, give the patient power to be able to consolidate their data, in a meaningful way, and then they'll be able to share it back with you. And it was so simple that some of them were literally scratching their heads and saying, but that can't be so easy, and that's what Profila is. We've made that breakthrough in that it's so simple that I'm actually starting a new campaign next year, which is a little bit cheeky, but it's a no CRM campaign, which is give your customers the data back. Okay. They're not idiots. They're not dumb customers anymore. Let them educate you. So I think that's been a great breakthrough for us, Peter. But on the other side, we love tech and we're on Cardano for a great reason. We've been very fortunate to have 11 Catalyst funds behind us, where we've learned a huge amount. Because we're an R&D company by heart, every one of those projects is now in some way being implemented into Profila technically. And the 3 that we've going live with in the end of this year is a data subscription smart contract written on Aiken. And it's one of the first, I believe, from our research, which actually creates an NFT for every single relationship type that you have with the brand. So every time a brand requests your data, we've got the terms in there, not the physical data, but all the links to what the data is and so on. And it puts a nice NFT in your Roy wallet that you can see, and then at the end of that relationship, it gets burned, so that there's an auditability, but also a finite status for that relationship. So I think that's a super cool one. And then the second is our rewards smart contract. So that's linked to our zero knowledge token. Because we know this is a new habit. People are not used to creating a profiler themselves and maintaining data. So yes, you're working, but you're going to get paid a little bit for it by the brands. That's the data subscription. But we don't tell people you're going to make a lot of money ever. Our competitors, I respect them, but you don't make money out of the raw data. You make money out of how you use that information to bargain for a better product and service with the brand, because you've shared it with them. Now they can give it to you. But on the side, we're using our Zeek token to nudge people in the right way to say, you need to complete this part of your profile to become valuable to the luxury industry, or you need to complete this survey if you're looking to buy a car, because this is the data that the industry needs. You don't have to, but then don't be surprised if you don't get a good match. Okay, so we're educating people along the way, and that's Zeek's utility function in the platform. But Zeek will also be used in the data subscription flow. So we receive fiat currency from the brands for data and for being able to advertise to you. And then you as a consumer on the platform will receive between 50 and 90% of that cash flow, which is much higher than others out in the market. And the scale increases, the better quality your profiler data is, okay, and the better engagement on the content is, so that we're not wasting either party's time. Okay, and then in the wallet, you'll connect to your Roy wallet, and it's an announcement we'll make pretty soon as we're doing a little bit deeper integration with your Roy, and you'll be able to cash out in Zeek. So we'll convert the fiat currency into Zeek, get paid into your wallet, and then you can obviously do whatever you want in the wallet if you want to swap it out to ADA and the likes. So we've got a very, I think, clear and constructive token flow in the platform of utility and payments. Below that is cool. I think we're one of the first that have actually got it in a production platform, from what I've heard. I might be wrong, but Atala Prism's digital identity. So we've got that fully implemented. It's not anchoring everything to the Cardano blockchain yet, but we create a digital ID for a person and for a brand. And then we've got a better communication path between those two companies. And we're in the process this month actually of updating that to the latest Identis framework so that we're up to date with that Hyperledger version that IOHK have been working on for a long time. So I think that's the core of our Web3 But something which is a big announcement we made, which people may have seen, is our collaboration with Partisia blockchain. And everyone is now exploring how do we integrate and interoperate with other blockchains that have got better capabilities at the moment. So Partisia brings, as a layer 2 blockchain to Cardano, multi-party computation. So there's a lot of podcasts we've done on this, which people can look it up, but it's super exciting. It is different to zero knowledge proofs. Zero knowledge proofs have their place, which is proving one point of information, either true or false. But MPC allows you to look at many points of data and query it, but fully anonymously and cryptographically proven, okay, that none of your data is leaked. And so that the brand can query all of the Profila users' data in the safest way that's actually available in the market at the moment. So as far as technical breakthroughs, I think we've taken the best of Web3 that we've got from Cardano, and we're also plugging in the best cryptographic technology at the moment that's enterprise ready. Midnight will catch up, but there are different use cases, and we're speaking to the Midnight team around implementing zero knowledge proofs and using some of their private chain. But MPC is a different technology, which I think any of the tech audience listening to this will totally understand. But yeah, you have to live up to two promises, right? In Web 2 world, you got to give the business use case, like I explained. In Web 3 world, you got to show that you're technically delivering on your promise of privacy.
It's really good that you guys are hitting those catalyst milestones, and the community has been supporting you guys, and now you're potentially launching those three smart contracts, those three catalyst results by the end of the year. So that's really good to see. I'm assuming those smart contracts be audited as well, or open source, so that the community can review them.
We're having it audited by Mergo, but towards the end of the year, we've already engaged with them. And then, yes, we will publish the results and have that available, because people will be earning cash through the platform. So
yeah, precisely.
I was thinking of a new term, actually, and maybe the community watching can help, because DeFi is everywhere. But I was thinking of like personal DeFi, because it's how do you make money out of your time and attention? And Brave started this concept of basic attention token. And at Profila, we are tokenizing your attention and your data. So, and people realize once you create a profile and you maintain it, you're working. Okay, so you're getting paid, but it's like personal finance or personal DeFi. It's something cool.
I'm sure the community will come up with some cool name for it, especially once they start getting those rewards. I still see it basically as a rewards token for using the platform. And personally, I think that's a great way to incentivize users onto the platform itself as well. Especially early on, the token might be worth a little bit more. So that should get more users onto the platform and ecosystem. And as more and more users get in, that gets a little bit diluted. So, it really incentivize those early adopters going onto the platform.
Yes.
And really filling out their profiles. So that's a really good idea there too. And I'll put links down below for anyone that is interested in finding out more about that. And you also mentioned the integration with Yoroi directly there. That's an interesting one there. I know there's still a lot of people that use Yoroi. It's a very popular wallet.
That's a popular wallet. It's speeding along, going very fast in adoption.
Yeah, it's a very popular wallet, and I know a lot of people still use it. But why Yoroi specifically? There's lots of other ones, and mobile wallets are gaining more traction and popularity too.
So for us, it was to build a relationship technically with the wallet has been a mission of ours, because like you said, there's so many out there, but not many have focused on what comes after managing an NFT and a token. Where if you're in the self-sovereign identity space, we need to manage data as well in a wallet in the future. Okay, and some have that capability on a basic level, but making a partnership, and this is something we'll also announce a little bit later this month, sneak peek here, is that we just wanted a deeper relationship with a single wallet that has the trust of the community, so that we can build these deeper integrations linked to data and even messaging after that. So as you remember, we've got digital identities set up so that we can in future attach any data movement, if there is movement. Something I didn't mention is data never leaves Profila. If it does, and it doesn't leave your environment, if it does, it's got a whole new regulation set behind it to ensure that if the brand has taken it off the platform, it actually can be looked after legally. But if we've got the wallet to wallet scenario going between brands, and that makes us a lot stronger than competitors. But they're also helping us with our no app strategy. 2 years ago, we had mobile apps and all the stores, and that was the rage. But it comes with a penalty, right? Is that the app stores have got their own policies. They're not as private as everyone thinks they are, and they charge 30% for any money you make. So we said, well, are we going to share revenues, of people's own data monetization with Apple? No. So we've gone a progressive web app route, which is actually working so nicely now. So it's as simple as when you open app.profiler.com, a little pop-up in your bar comes saying download the app on your laptop, and you've got an app instance, of the browser dedicated to Profiler. And it also works on the mobile phones. Okay, so we're going to be educating consumers how to load an app this way, not through the store. And Roy and team have agreed to help us just to see how we integrate wallets and so on into that experience. So yeah, just to also make it simple for our users, especially layperson users, is why offer 10 or 20 different wallet options where if they want to be on the platform and they want to get their Z payout, they've got one option. So it makes things simpler.
Okay. Keep it simple. Gotcha.
Yep.
You also mentioned, this is the last technical one, I promise.
I love it.
A Teleprism, Identis.
Yes.
How does that aspect of it work? I know each party needs to create a digital identity, but
yes.
in terms of the experience, is the DID integrated into the wallet itself? Like, how does that actually look? Because I haven't experienced it.
Yeah, look, the self-sovereign identity world is, well, let me put it nicely. It's got a huge set of interpretations, okay, as to what a digital ID is used for. And we collaborated with a great company in South Africa called DDEX, and they're implementing digital ID for banks and different organizations, but in a closed ecosystem. Okay, where not every use case that requires a digital ID needs a blockchain attached to it. Okay, that's if you want to have a public record of an event linked to a digital ID, then you anchor that verified credential or that activity onto a blockchain. So a lot of the actual digital identity adoption is in closed ecosystems. Okay, so it's what we've done in first phase is, yes, you can opt in. Not everyone wants one either. Okay, so a company that's selling cookies, why do they need a digital ID? If their customers are happy to purchase products from them down the road, they don't need that overhead and burden. So on both sides, it's an opt-in feature. We educate users as to why it's good for them, and we educate brands as to why it's good for them for the auditability, traceability, and so on of the relationship. Then next to that, Peter, once you've got your ID on each side, then every data subscription in future that I just mentioned earlier will be linked to a digital ID or a spawned version of it. Okay, there's a hierarchy tree that you can create. On Profiler, we'll help you with your Genesis key, but in future, Luke's got the vision on our platform of creating hundreds of personas for yourself. So it's my travel persona, it's my eating persona, maybe I've got an eating persona for when I travel to Milan. Each of those will be linked to a digital ID and a persona and a set of data. Okay, so it makes it easier for us to be able to trace back to an individual, an anonymous ID, okay, and link it on the platform. And then, yes, wallets will be involved in the next phase, but I'm not pushing digital ID use with wallets at this phase yet. For us, it's much more as identifiers. And then when it becomes important, like I need to anchor a certain, relationship between two IDs onto the chain, then we'll link it to the chain. So yeah, everyone's use case is different, but ours is quite unique in that we're creating it from both sides, and we've got a different use case.
Like that idea of creating different profiles for different scenarios as well. That would really suit me because I don't want all my kids, Christmas present shopping list subscription stuff. I'm the one that buys it, but I don't want them all the time. So creating different profiles.
But we've got Luke's got that. Maybe Luke, just chat quickly about children's personas and pets personas, because until your kids are of a legal age, as a parent, you'll have a custodian over their data, and you can permission access to their data to certain companies.
Yeah, I mean, and both child and pet profiles were there from the absolute beginning, and we'll implement it at some point. But the idea that I have a certain breed, a certain age of dog, Well, if a brand knows that, they're going to be able to suggest the right food, the right toys that are going to be different compared to another breed, another age. But again, they don't know that now, therefore they just have to kind of, stock and spray. And the same thing with kids, the idea of you've got a child at a certain age and has its own zero-party data that you can put anonymously into a marketplace to look for, whatever kind of services or products, and eventually be able to basically give that child a full profiler once it reaches an age. So it all comes down to data that doesn't exist now that would help both individuals to find the things they want, but also brands to find the people that they want. So just an extension of our core thesis anyway.
Very cool. Yeah, you say all that with the pets as my cat's sleeping right next to me here. So these profiles be very, very useful indeed. Now, so where are you guys up to now? You've trialed, you've done the partnerships with those 3 companies. That's great. I'm assuming now we're taking things to market. Will users in the Cardano ecosystem be able to use this now? And when's the token going to launch?
So yeah, thanks, Peter. So the platform beta trials will finish at the end of December, and we'll be doing some platform hardening in Q1. And we aim to have an enterprise customer on the platform in Q1. Okay, that's our biggest milestone, is just to prove to the community and to other brands that this is an enterprise grade product, especially when we're dealing with, taking their customer data and looking after it. So that's our number 1 milestone. Number 2 is that the smart contracts I mentioned will be going live in December. And then we'll be running them out to public use for the community in January and February, so that people can start earning their tokens, like you said, on Zeek tokens on the platform, and actually starting to receive cash payouts from any early adopter brands. So that's our exciting, next couple of months, is the reality of, hey, we finally got this product launched in the way that we wanted to market. And then, yes, the Zeek token. So Zeek, our proud mascot dog. And in case people don't understand why we've got the dog, the St. Bernard is synonymous with Switzerland. It's also a very strong rescue dog. And the company is based in Switzerland. Luke and I are in Switzerland. So Luke actually chose it, and we just saw it as the best representation, in crypto talk, because everyone loves a dog or a pet, to represent strength, but also calm strength, okay, and security, because you get some dogs which are aggressive in nature, but a St. Bernard is trained to be extremely strong but patient, and that's Profila, okay, is in embodied. But Zeek in the zero knowledge token is one of the first, we believe, that will truly represent data in a different way again. And we thank Brave for starting this type of effort, but we see ourselves as an evolution of the basic attention token, okay? Because now Zeek is a representation of your data and your time. And we did research actually with University of Madrid, and they helped us classify the difference, okay? Whereas Brave token is a passive token, okay? Because you're on their browser and you're using search history, and it's using that to be able to define what you view. Whereas Profila and the Zeek token is an active zero knowledge token, okay, which means you, as Peter, the user, are telling the protocol what you want. Okay, so it's got human interaction and guidance and full control, like Luke showed you earlier. So yeah, we're taking a big leap that we will be able to perfect that model within the Profila ecosystem. But the Zeek token will also power our APIs, which are being designed that will plug into apps and SDKs. So another app in the ecosystem could come along and say, could we partner with Profila and use, all your skills in managing personal data for my customers, and let me go and do DeFi? So we'll be able to help any other app in the ecosystem to get their compliance and get this capability. And then the end game for Zeek and the token, which is in our research, and anyone who's looked at that zero knowledge advertising protocol that we built in a design, we will be able to offer this to websites. And that's the end game in the future, is to actually help the whole internet to transform, so that instead of a cookie representing you, on every web page, you could drop a Profila data set, okay, onto the website that you're visiting, and it will anonymously, give them just enough data to be able to personalize your experience. So that's the future, and the super exciting future for where the zero knowledge token can go. in representing your time and attention as an individual. And that will drop on MinSwap as an IDO on the 2nd of December, all going well with the markets.
Well, and the market is turning around at the moment, so fingers crossed it does go well for you guys. We've got a lot of IDOs on MinSwap at the moment. So 2nd of December, if anyone is interested in finding out more about the Zeek token itself, do check out their website. I'll put links down below to the white paper and everything else around it, the tokenomics, etc. So you can do more research around it. Please do your own research around these token launches and everything else around it. This isn't financial advice, and please only speculate with what you can afford to lose. It's a very risky markets playing around with cryptocurrencies. All right, that's the disclaimer out of the way. Now, guys, where to from here? What have you got? Anything for the community? Call to actions that we can take away at this point?
Yes, I think technically our next step, and it's also an upcoming announcement, is to give true control of data to people. We're speaking to a distributed storage partner on Cardano, where we will be giving people the right to move their Profila data into like a cold storage environment. And that's the logical thing to do. But our journey after that was for you to be able to store it on your device or wherever you want to. So we're just working out, obviously, with a platform that requires a lot of data and analytics. If you move the data outside of the traditional, silos of a Web2 app, there's a little bit of complication in that physical abstraction, but we'll get it right because and that's in the planning for the biggest next technical movement, other than everything else we mentioned, which is quite progressive. And then for the company is to just get some of our enterprise customers who've been interested for a while to actually run on the platform in the Q1 will be our biggest success milestone, because I think even the crypto community has realized that we need these real world applications to start using it without even knowing that there's crypto in it. Okay, and they won't. So the brands we speak to, we don't even mention crypto whatsoever or blockchain, but we tell them if you want security, if you want auditability, you can switch this on and switch this on. So that's super exciting for us. And yeah, for the community who've followed us over the years, it's firstly, thank you. And to a lot of our private investors, it's a massive thank you, because we've been a bit of a growth and hacked platform. We haven't asked for any massive investments from any VCs because we've preferred the route that we've gone and we're community funded. But yeah, the launch of the token will help us to get to that enterprise grade readiness, and also it will give BAT a little bit of competition in the market. I think they've got $1 billion cap, which is not high. Okay, if we get 0.0 something % of any advertising industry spend, we'll get there pretty fast. And we know what they did right. Okay, so that's all I'll say because I respect them. But our go-to-market will be slightly different, and I think we'll make brands very happy. And at the end of the day, that means you're happy, okay? Because you get value.
Brilliant, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode and taking us through everything that Profile has been up to. It's going to be a very exciting end of year for you guys and first quarter for next year, 2025. Hopefully this bull market does continue and we see a very exciting year for Profile.
It will continue for sure. And Luke, any last amazing words? Because this guy's always got the gold nuggets, as we call it, in Profiler.
All gold nuggets can be seen on our Twitter page.
Awesome. And Peter, I do have one statement, which is something which also helps people to understand the revolution that they're facing. It's, 1,000 songs in your pocket changed music forever, with the iPod. And we believe that 1,000 data points under your control in your pocket will change everything for you. Okay, and that's the dynamic shift globally that companies are not ready for, and they don't know that they actually need it. Okay, because they got to get closer to their customers digitally. And that's where we want to be the leader worldwide.
Awesome, guys. You're going to really shake up the CRM space, I think.
Absolutely.